What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. I did not think I would be dropping my second video of the day, but here we are. It's Monday. We got some news regarding the Toronto Raptors via Shams Charania, who tweeted out, the Toronto Raptors are waiving forward Svi Mykhailiuk. Sources tell The Athletic Mykhailiuk, who is currently playing for Ukraine's national team at FIBA Eurobasket, is seeking a fresh start elsewhere. So this should not come as a surprise because a lot of Raptors fans were waiting for this move and it has finally happened. So for today's video, I'm going to break down this move. I'm going to break down the details as well of this move and how that's going to impact the salary cap situation. I'm going to talk about what this move may mean for the Toronto Raptors moving forward and maybe some replacements the Raptors could possibly invite. Some players they could invite to camp to really fight for those last few roster spots. So if you're ready to watch this video, guys, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Let's try to get this video to 140 likes. And if you want to hit the subscribe button as well, that would be very, very much appreciated. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel. And for today's video, the shout out goes out to El Mac Ulte. So El Mac, thank you so much for supporting this channel to your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now, of course, Svi Mykhailiuk had only been with the Raptors for one season. He did sign that 2-year contract, and when the Raptors did sign him, they had a vision of the 6'8", 6'9" forwards. He's listed, I know, technically at 6'7", and he really did start the season off really well with the Toronto Raptors. He was coming in as a shooter, which is something the Raptors needed. He also provided a little bit of playmaking, which is something the Raptors desperately needed at that time as well. They needed a little bit of everything, and that was something he was providing. He was really a huge spark for the Raptors to start off the season last year. But unfortunately, as the season progressed, we saw Svi Mykhailiuk's play just drop quite a bit. And at the end of the season, he was really just glued to the bench and not seeing many minutes besides garbage time. Now, let's talk about how this is going to impact the salary cap situation. And shout out to Bobby Marks, who did a tremendous job of breaking this down. He tweeted out 1.87 million cap hit on Svi Mykhailiuk waiver in Toronto. The roster is now trimmed down to 13 guaranteed spots, 3 partial, 2 two-ways, 1 exhibit. That is Gabe Brown, who, by the way, got yelled at by Draymond Green if you haven't seen that video. And they're below the tax, 1.87 million, and below the hard cap, $5.9 million. So again, shout out to Bobby Marks. So the Raptors currently do have 13 guaranteed spots. They only have about 2 spots they can fill out. And again, we'll wait and see because now they've opened up some roster spots. Maybe the Raptors do invite someone. Maybe they stick with who they have. But the Raptors obviously have invited some really nice pieces to their training camp. And this is going to be still a very competitive fight for those last few roster spots. So I believe just based off of what I have seen and just on top of my head, I believe it's Justin Champagnie, Delano Banton fighting for that last roster spot. We do have the Exhibit 10 contract of Gabe Brown, so he could be in there as well. And I can't recall, but I think DJ Wilson is fighting for that last roster spot as well. Juanco Hernan Gomez could be one of those players. I forget if his contract is fully guaranteed or not, but I think he is also fighting for that last roster spot. So obviously the Raptors do have quite a few players fighting for those two last roster spots. But this shouldn't really come as a surprise. The Raptors do this year in, year out, where we've seen the Raptors invite a maximum of 20 guys and then really just have 5 guys fighting for the last 2 roster spots. And that has always been the case, almost like a gladiator-esque fight. The last man standing or the last couple men standing will get that last roster spot. And the Raptors culture really is like that too. When you think about it, they're a hardworking team and they really want these guys to earn their last roster spot. They want to make them work for it. And if I recall correctly, I remember they did the same thing with Fred VanVleet, who had gotten one of the few last roster spots, and look where he is now. So obviously the Raptors really make these guys earn it. And I think that's a great way of seeing who really wants it as well. So this is a great way of making sure those players that really want those last few roster spots will be fighting for it. But let's talk about some players the Raptors could still potentially invite to training camp. Now, one player that automatically comes to mind when you think of players that Raptors may invite to training camp is Jarrett Culver. Now, Jarrett Culver has been seen at the Rico Hines runs. He's actually been seen on Raptors gear. I know it's his basketball runs, but I found that quite interesting. And to add more fuel to that fire, we had Scotty Barnes go on Twitch saying, I think the Raptors signed him. So again, that is one name I think you could potentially add to the list of players that the Raptors could invite. I'm hearing some other names as well. Obviously, these are just fan base, but another name that comes to mind is potentially Jalen Harris. Jalen Harris, who was suspended from the NBA for one whole year, was reinstated a little while back, and the Raptors could maybe look to invite him as well to see if he could still fight for one of those last few roster spots. Unfortunately, Jalen Harris just didn't get the opportunity. He had quite a nice season with the Toronto Raptors, particularly towards the end there. he did a really good job of getting you some baskets, and he could be someone we could slide in at that shooting guard position as our backup. So again, just two names you could potentially look to invite to training camp. But again, like I said, the Raptors do have a lot of guys fighting for those last two roster spots. I'm not going to go too much into detail. I did break a video down earlier, I believe about a month ago. We'll probably do one as we get closer to training camp and once we're done preseason to announce who I think the Raptors will finally have those two roster spots, which players will take those two lost roster spots. But we'll wait and see what happens. Potentially, this could be bigger impact. Maybe the Raptors do invite some guys. Maybe they don't. We'll see what happens. But I do want to hear your thoughts. Do you think the Raptors should stick with who they have and just have those guys fight for the last few roster spots? Do you think the Raptors could potentially invite a few of those names I have mentioned to training camp to fight for those last roster spots? What are your thoughts on this move? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Unfortunately, guys, I don't have a trivia question today. This is my second video of the day. I wanted to get this news to you guys as quick as possible. So I wanted to give you guys another chance. For those who may not always get the chance to answer my trivia question right away, if you do want a shout out, you can always let me know in the comment section. I'll give you a shout out in my next video. But that will be it for today's video, guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day. Raptors fans, this entire offseason have been waiting for the Raptors to really move on from Svi Mykhailiuk, who's currently playing for